Hi guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another vlog. I know it's been a while since I've done a vlog. I feel like I actually say that every single time I come back on YouTube. But to be fair, my last video was just a little bit different to my usual content. If you didn't see it yet, I actually got some really good feedback on it. My little girl chat video with Victoria. It's my latest upload just before this one if you missed it. But for today's video, I'm back to my usual content. I'm back doing fitness vlogs. So in today's video, we're going to be talking all about glute growth and lower body growth and development and just basically the no bullshit approach, which is what you always get on my YouTube channel, to be fair. So I actually just started a new training split myself. It has been months since I've changed my split, to be honest, and like had a consistent run with a new workout split, so I'm very excited for it. Today's leg day is my second leg day of the week, so I'm just recovered from my previous leg day. I'm ready to go again, and I'm going to be bringing you through the workout and giving you tips and tricks along the way, and basically just showing what has worked for me after trying loads of different training styles over the years. I've made all the mistakes in the book to get to this point, so hopefully you learn something from today's video, and hopefully you'll be able to implement some of this advice as well into your own programs. So as I mentioned, I started a new training split this week. Right now I'm sort of testing and trialing it, and then I'm going to be uploading it as an advanced workout split on my fitness app, and I'm most likely going to be using this split as a base for the summer challenge this year. I have had a lot of you in my DMs asking if I'm going to be running another challenge. I normally run 2 challenges per year, and it is creeping up to the time where I normally run a summer challenge. So it is happening. I'm working on it, and hopefully in my next video I'll have a date for you, or potentially like a pre-reg link. But for now I'm still at the like testing and trialing stages of the workout routines, but it is coming and I'll be sure to keep you up to date with it. So myself and Pabs have spent the morning together. Sure we have, buddy. We did a morning spin session, which I've reintroduced into my program. We went for a big long walk, and oh bless him, I said the W word and he got excited. I'll have to bring him for another one. And I also just had my pre-workout meal / breakfast. So this morning I had 2 bacon and egg bagels, standard pre-workout meal, lots of salt in it, which is great for getting the pump. So this is today's gym fit. I can't actually remember the official name of this color, but it is by far my favorite pair of Amplify leggings. And you heard it here first, guys. I know we just had the Here Comes the Sun launch with all the really bright colors. There is another Amplify launch coming really soon, and they're going to have like the plainer colours back again. I am going to wear this Pulse bra, so this is the front of it and this is the back. It's really nice on, and I think this jacket is from the Pulse collection as well. It's just a lovely little stretchy and soft gym jacket, and I like the high neckline on it. And of course I have my gym bags. Also guys, just to clarify about the gym bags, they have been out of stock for quite some time, which I'm really sorry about. I have a lot of you onto me asking like when are they going to be back. They are en route, they have been reordered. There's just been a massive delay with the shipments. There are still some parts of the world that are affected by COVID when it comes to shipping and shipping times and just delays, and unfortunately this batch of gym bags just happens to be part of that big delay. So it is en route and they will be back, and I've ordered lots of stock, so hopefully it should last for a little bit longer this time. But the gym bags are coming back, just stay tuned. You will not find a pair of better leggings on the Glutes than the Amplify. So it is actually a beautiful sunny day outside today, and it has been sunny for the last week or so in Cork, which is unheard of over here for us in like April. We're never this lucky, so that's why I'm training a little bit earlier than usual today. I just had 1 meal and a snack, and I'm getting out because I want to make sure I have some time to relax in the sun later on today and just prioritize being outdoors a little bit more, especially when it's sunny. You ready to go on a play date, buddy? You want to go and play with Oscar? Where's Oscar? Oh, he's all excited. Oh, you're so shiny, Pablo. Right guys, so I am going to sit down and talk you through today's workout. I'm going to make an effort to do a little bit more voiceovers and just try squeeze in a little bit more information in my fitness vlogs going forward, because the main goal is to make sure that you're learning and also just enjoying the content at the same time. You're going to notice in this workout and in basically all of my workouts, my exercise selection is very simple. You won't find me doing any crazy variations or ridiculous things on machines. I normally stick to my usual compound movements and machine movements that just work well for me and that isolate the muscle group the way I want it to. So firstly, you're going to see me doing a dynamic warm-up. So I used my band for some of this warm-up, and I also just did some body weight movements. This is something that I definitely slacked in over the last couple of weeks, especially when I was traveling. I'd always stick to my usual workout routine and I eat intuitively when I'm away if I can't track. But when it came to, you know, my step count, my recovery, getting sports massages and warming up properly at the gym, I definitely slacked, and I could definitely feel it in this workout. Like my hips and groin are really tight at the moment, so that's the goal over the next couple of weeks. I rewrote my goals at the start of this week, and getting back into stretching and working on my mobility was one huge part of it. So I do a few static stretches, but usually before leg day it is a dynamic warm up just to get the blood flowing and to make sure I'm actually feeling warm, because the gyms that I train at are mostly warehouse gyms in Ireland and they're not that warm this time of year. So a priority is to always make sure that my joints are well warmed up and my muscle groups are warmed up and that there's good blood flow in the area that I'm going to be training. So I started this workout with one of my favorite movements ever, which is the leg press. So that's another reason I really wanted to make sure I was warmed up, because I knew I was going to be starting with a heavy big movement like the leg press. On the leg press I normally do 2 to 3 working sets, so that's not my total sets. I could do 5 sets in total, but I'll only count 2 or 3 of those sets as my actual working sets. One big thing I always look out for when I'm leg pressing is to make sure that my lower back is not lifting from the seat and that my glutes and lower back area are stuck into the seat basically. So you'll notice me holding onto the end of the seat and keeping myself in place. Ideally I'd be able to hold the handles, but I'm actually just too short for a lot of the machines at my gym, unfortunately. Sometimes I can't reach the handles on the leg machines, but what I will do is hold onto the seat and secure myself in place to make sure that I'm not moving or that my lower back isn't kinking off the seat, because that can lead to an injury quite fast. In an ideal world I would have brought my legs closer to my chest at the bottom of this movement, but because I've been nursing a lower back injury I am restricted with the depth on these movements. But for everybody else I would recommend getting a little bit deeper into this if you can. For me, I still engage really well with this movement, but I just have to be careful to not go too deep. You notice that I'm wearing my knee sleeves in these clips as well. I always wear my knee sleeves for a leg press. I do find that they make a big difference to firstly just ensuring that my knee joint is like warm, and it just makes me feel a lot more secure in this movement. So you'll never really catch me leg pressing without my knee sleeves. They're an absolute must. Next up you will see me doing my all-time favorite movement when it comes to growing your glutes, which is the hip thrust. And in this case I am doing a barbell hip thrust. One thing I am very picky about, and something you should be picky about too, is the setup of your hip thrust. I train at 2 different gyms in Cork, and one of them already has a bench setup that's like specifically for the hip thrust, and I'm just really lucky that it happens to be the perfect height for me. I'm going to include a little clip of it here just so that you know the one I'm talking about, but you've definitely seen it on my Instagram if you follow me on there. I just love that hip thrust setup. In today's session I have different size wooden blocks to work off. So the block size I went for in this one is 15 inches. I always test it out first and warm up and make sure that I'm not overextending at the top. I make sure that my ankles and knees are in line with each other. And another really important thing when it comes to your hip thrust setup is to make sure that your chin is tucked in. Hip thrust is by far my favorite movement when it comes to loading the glutes and growing your glutes. I used to actually hate the hip thrust when I first started lifting. I'd do anything in my power to just avoid doing it, because A, I hated the setup, and B, I wasn't really comfortable with the form. I found I was working my hamstrings a little bit more some days. I found it hurt my lower back other days, and that was simply because I had the wrong setup and the bench I was using was just either too high or too low for what I needed. Eventually I got over myself and accepted the fact that a barbell hip thrust is just the king when it comes to growing your glutes, and it's the best way in my opinion to load your glutes. I've made sure to include this movement consistently over the last like 16 months especially, and it has made a massive difference, and it's now my favorite movement. The only thing I don't like about the hip thrust is the setup, because it takes ages, but it's definitely worth it. So if you're trying to grow your glutes right now, and if you're not hip thrusting once or twice a week, then you're only cheating yourself. Make sure you include it. Get comfortable with your form, you know, ask a PT at your gym if you're unsure, reach out to a coach, watch some YouTube tutorials and get comfortable with the movement, because it is an absolute must in my opinion if you really want to grow your glutes. Next up you will see me doing a dumbbell RDL. So I chose an RDL as opposed to a stiff leg deadlift here because I find the RDL definitely engages the glutes a little bit better. I have a slight bend in my knee and I'm always trying to make sure that I don't go down too far at the bottom of this movement. I personally used to have a bad habit of doing that before because I'm hypermobile and I have the tendencies to overextend at the bottom or at the top of some movements because I'm just very flexible. But that can actually work against you when you're lifting, especially when you're lifting heavy. So if you're like me and if you tend to overextend sometimes, just make sure you have it in the back of your head when you are lifting. Of course, it's important to stretch the muscle group and feel a bit of a burn, but make sure you're not overstretching it with too much weight because you can run into some problems. Another common thing that I see people do during an RDL is squeezing their glutes at the top of the movement and driving their hips forward. This is something I recommend you avoid as well, because even though you might feel an extra bit of a burn in your glutes, it's definitely not worth it for the risk that's involved with thrusting at the top of an RDL. If you're practicing mind muscle connection throughout the movement and if you're really focusing on just keeping your glutes tight from the top to the bottom of this movement, then you definitely do not need to squeeze and thrust at the top, because I've seen people run into issues from doing that in the past. And in my opinion, you know, that extra little squeeze at the top is not going to grow your glutes anymore. I've only really gotten back into doing RDLs over the last couple of months because my lower back couldn't really handle the load. But even since I've incorporated them again over the last couple of months, I definitely noticed a difference. The basics are the basics for a reason, and you should definitely try revolve your workouts around these staple compound movements before adding in any accessory work. Next up, you're going to see a very gruesome superset. So I feel like I was definitely odd with myself when I wrote this program, because I decided to superset a leg extension with a split squat. So my quads were absolutely on fire after this superset, and I was just dead to the world, to be honest, after this one. But it was really, really good. Again, with the leg extension, I'll always make sure that I'm either holding the handles if I can reach them, or holding the seat and keeping myself in place. You don't want your glutes to lift off the seat or your back to budge from the back of the seat in a movement like a leg extension. The tighter and more secure you are in your seat, the better the isolation you'll get in your quads. So keep that in mind when you're doing this movement. I like to do these really slow and controlled and just really practice mind muscle connection and focus on really pushing the weight with my quads and no other muscle group. My quads were always a genetic weak point, and they still are a genetic weak point, to be honest. So you'll find that for me anyway, on most leg days I will include a leg extension to isolate my quads and just hopefully bring them up over the next couple of months. So for my split squats in this workout, I made sure to push myself as far away from the bench as I could without compromising my form, of course, because the further your stance is from the bench, the more glute you're going to target, and that was my goal in this workout. I really did just want to get a big glute burn. If you're someone that has really tight hips or a tight lower back, you might run into some issues with a split squat. So if that's the case for you, then I recommend swapping these out with a static lunge and leaning forward in the static lunge so that you can really focus on targeting your glutes. Split squats are a great movement. Everyone hates them for a reason, because they really burn and they really work. But if you're someone that can't do them, or if they're really uncomfortable for you, then I do think the static lunge is a great alternative, and it's a little bit easier as well if you're just starting out in the gym. So at this point, my legs and glutes are absolutely fried, but I wanted to end the workout with a glute kickback. I am very fond of a glute kickback on the cable machine, and it's something that I've included in my workouts since I started at the gym. Now, when I did start at the gym, my form was absolutely atrocious, and when I look back now, I'm like, why didn't anyone tell me? But in this clip, you'll see that I have adapted my form over the years, and it's a movement that I highly advise including in your programs if you're trying to grow your glutes. So for me, this cable machine doesn't come fully down to the ground, so I always put a little step. If you have a cable machine that doesn't reach the ground, I recommend putting in a little step and standing on that instead, just to make sure that your ankle is in line with the actual attachment on the cable machine. Another adjustment I make to this movement to really target the outer glute is I twist my foot slightly outwards. So you see it in this clip that my ankle is pointed in and my toes are slightly pointed out to really target the outer glute. And another reason I found myself falling into this movement as well is because I often found that the clip on the cable machine would like really dig into my shin bone, and I used to be covered in bruises from the actual clip on the cable. So when you twist your toes slightly as well, it makes it a lot more comfortable, and you'll avoid getting, you know, ugly bruises up your legs from them. And after my workout, I did a 15-minute walk on the treadmill just to warm down a bit before I left. And I can confirm, guys, it was an absolute killer session, and it's one that I'm definitely going to keep in my new program. But anyway guys, I hope you learned something new in today's video, and I hope that this advice was helpful, and you know, hopefully you'll be able to implement some of these movements or even this whole workout into your routine. Try it for yourselves and let me know how you get on with it. Also, please do let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed this style video where I break down the workouts and just get a little bit more informative than usual. If you like this, then I can continue with it, of course. But other than that guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.